Live from New York, you're watching News Always On. I'm Kessyl. In a remarkable press conference, President Trump did not attempt to contradict Russian President Vladimir Putin's denials that Russia interfered with the 2016 election. President Trump and the Russian president met privately for more than 2 hours today in the presidential palace in Helsinki, Finland. The meeting between the two leaders comes just days after a U.S. grand jury indicted 12 Russian intelligence agents for interfering in the 2016 elections. Putin said that the so-called Russian interference in the U.S. election was brought up by President Donald Trump during their meeting. Speaking at a joint news conference, he said, quote, "I had to repeat that the Russian state never interfered and does not plan to interfere in internal American electoral process." In general, he said the talks with Trump took place in an open and business-like atmosphere and categorized them as successful and useful. Here is more.
Спасибо большое.
Thank you. I have just concluded a meeting with President Putin on a wide range of critical issues for both of our countries. We had direct, open, deeply productive dialogue. Went very well. The disagreements between our two countries are well known, and President Putin and I discussed them at length today. But if we're going to solve many of the problems facing our world, then we're going to have to find ways to cooperate in pursuit of shared interests. Too often in both recent past and long ago, we have seen the consequences when diplomacy is left on the table. We have also seen the benefits of cooperation. In the last century, our nations fought alongside one another in the Second World War. Even during the tensions of the Cold War, when the world looked much different than it does today, the United States and Russia were able to maintain a strong dialogue. But our relationship has never been worse than it is now. However, that changed as of about 4 hours ago. I really believe that. Nothing would be easier politically than to refuse to meet, to refuse to engage, but that would not accomplish anything. As president, I cannot make decisions on foreign policy in a futile effort to appease partisan critics or the media or Democrats who want to do nothing but resist and obstruct. Constructive dialogue between the United States and Russia affords the opportunity to open new pathways toward peace and stability in our world. I would rather take a political risk in pursuit of peace than to risk peace in pursuit of politics. During today's meeting, I addressed directly with President Putin the issue of Russian interference in our elections. I felt this was a message best delivered in person. Spent a great deal of time talking about it. And President Putin may very well want to address it, and very strongly, because he feels very strongly about it, and he has an interesting idea. We also discussed one of the most critical challenges facing humanity, nuclear proliferation. I provided an update on my meeting last month with Chairman Kim on the denuclearization of North Korea, and after today, I am very sure that President Putin and Russia want very much to end that problem, going to work with us, and I appreciate that commitment. Yes, I do. I hold both countries responsible. I think that the United States has been foolish. I think we've all been foolish. We should have had this dialogue a long time ago, a long time, frankly, before I got to office. And I think we're all to blame. I think that the United States now has stepped forward along with Russia, and we're getting together, and we have a chance to do some great things, whether it's nuclear proliferation in terms of stopping. We have to do it. Ultimately, that's probably the most important thing that we can be working on. But I do feel that we have both made some mistakes. I think that the probe is a disaster for our country. I think it's kept us apart. It's kept us separated. There was no collusion at all. Everybody knows it. People are being brought out to the fore. So far that I know, virtually none of it related to the campaign. And they're going to have to try really hard to find somebody that did relate to the campaign. That was a clean campaign. I beat Hillary Clinton easily, and frankly, we beat her, and I'm not even saying from the standpoint, we won that race. And it's a shame that there can even be a little bit of a cloud over it. People know that, people understand it, but the main thing, and we discussed this also, is zero collusion. And it has had a negative impact upon the relationship of the two largest nuclear powers in the world. We have 90% of nuclear power between the two countries. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous what's going on with the probe. You know, actually, I called him a competitor, and a good competitor he is. And I think the word competitor is it's a compliment. I think that we will be competing when you talk about the pipeline.
Just yesterday, thousands of people gathered in Helsinki to protest against the summit between the two leaders in the Finnish capital. They marched through the city to promote human and sexual rights, democracy, and environmental issues. Organizers for Helsinki Calling said the protest wasn't aimed directly against the US or the Russian presidents, but was designed to focus on key global issues. Helsinki often served as a crucial bridge between the Soviet Union and the US during the Cold War. In the meantime, several dozen supported the US president, with many waving American flags and sporting the Making America Great Again caps.
Helsinki calling for Mr. Putin!
Helsinki calling for Mr. Putin!
Helsinki calling for Mr. Trump!
Helsinki calling for Mr. Trump! Helsinki calling for Mr. Trump! Helsinki calling for human rights! Ihmisoikeudet voittaa! Koska aina on niin, että ihmisoikeudet voittaa! Aurinko paistaa!
I don't think that the political analysts have a clue what's going to happen, so why should I have? But I'm still worried about the situation in the world, and I would like to have better human rights for everyone.
We care! Putin is a war criminal! He killed more than 500,000 Syrian people!
I think we celebrate the Helsinki spirit here. Helsinki is a warm place, as you can see, and we welcome everybody who respects human rights and democracy, and don't share fake news, and don't manipulate people's minds. And I am afraid that these guys, they are not really doing what we want, and I think they should work for a better world, because they are guys who have power to change things, and I wish everybody welcome who can do something like that, but I'm afraid these guys are not doing it.
Helsinki calling for peace! Helsinki calling for peace!
Yes, we are Christian patriots and we are supporters of Donald Trump. And when he was running for election, we prayed like it would be our own presidential election.
We believe in Donald Trump. So he has proved democracy right. The people got their voice heard, and we love really the ordinary people. And Donald Trump has been a figure that could have done much more things in life, but he chose to represent the people we love. And we love Donald Trump, we love the American people, the Western ordinary people. We saw Melanie and Donald Trump waving at us. That means they saw us, and they will learn who we are, because they are interested in the positive response they get. So that was our goal. That feels very satisfied. I mean, this is well, I can't describe. We are happy. We are very happy. We are a smiling moment.
Europe cast itself as a peacemaker when a senior European Union official urged President Donald Trump, Russian President, and China to work with Europe to avoid trade wars that could drag on for years. European Council President Donald Tusk was speaking in Beijing at the opening of a summit between China and the European Union, with Chinese Premier Li Keqiang saying, quote, the China-US trade friction is the problem between us. China doesn't want a trade war with the US. We think there's no winner from a trade war. Any actions that violate the World Trade Organization rules serve the interests of no one. Here is more.
中美贸易摩擦是中美之间的问题。中国不希望和美国打贸易战，我们认为打贸易战没有赢家，而且采取违背世贸组织或者是世贸规则的行为，实际上损人也害己。
For Mr. Juncker, the EU has in the past expressed.
We are all aware of the fact that the architecture of the world is changing before our very eyes. And it is our common responsibility to make it a change for the better.
A question for Premier Li. In your opening remarks, you said that the two sides exchanged offers on the BIT.
It is a common duty of Europe and China, America and Russia, not to destroy this order, but to improve it. Not to start trade wars, which turned into hot conflict so often in our history, but to bravely and responsibly reform the rules-based international order. This is why I'm calling on our Chinese hosts, but also on President Trump and Putin to jointly start this process from a reform of the WTO.
"20 years after France won the first World Cup in its country's history, they beat Croatia 4-2 in Moscow to win the football's most prestigious prize for the second time. This was the highest scoring final since 1966 and an entertaining climax a wonderful tournament deserved. As the heavens opened, France celebrated wildly, with French President Emmanuel Macron tweeting mercy to the players after the final whistle. That is all the time we have for now. For News Always On, I'm Kessyl, and I'll catch you at 4 in the afternoon.